Hello, everyone. My name is Keely Denenberg. I'm Senior VP of Client Solutions at Orange Grove Consulting. I am joined today by Dr. Jodi Detjen, who is a managing partner. Hi, Jodi. How are you?
Good.
So we are continuing a short conversation about Gartner's top HR trends. And one of them, the number one thing, is what I want to spend a little time on for this conversation. And it's about leadership development. We at Orange Grove Consulting offer amazing leadership development programs where we really talk about how we build 21st century competencies for high performing teams. And I wanted to ask you to expand a little bit on, kind of what those competencies are and how we train for them and create programs to really build them for real world applicability.
Yeah. I think the most important first thing, and we talk about this so much in our work, is this idea of leadership mindset. And I'd like to bring in their strategic thinking. I think what ends up happening is that leaders get caught up in the day to day to day, and they fail to open their eyes to the bigger picture and see how they're interconnected. And the thing that this does for teams is it really enables the teams to see where their place is in the world and how their day to day tactical work fits into this larger picture. So that ability to frame things and to talk about it with a strategic lens is an important skill that I see a lot of leaders struggle with. It's one of the fundamental skills or competencies. The second one, believe it or not, is about facilitation. One of the things that you rarely see in leadership development programs is how to facilitate a meeting. How do you facilitate a collaborative discussion about a topic that can help people think, maybe design thinking, or maybe bring in their particular perspective, and then you synthesize it together? How do you enable you have disparate voices coming forth into the conversation so you can create the most effective outcome? This idea of how do you facilitate is one of our core pieces in our leadership development, and it's something that I think is pretty unique to us. And yet I can't tell you the number of leaders that we work with that don't have the skill, or they've developed it in an ad hoc way. There's plenty of ways that you can do it in a much more thoughtful and facilitated way so that it actually yields the best outcomes. The third idea really combines a couple of things. It's about holding people accountable while helping them be motivated, while managing conflict in a way that actually is constructive. And so you bring these things together. It's basically saying, here are my expectations. Here is your performance, or here's your performance, or here's your performance. And here's what I'm not seeing, or here's what I'm seeing that I was surprised about, or here are your meeting expectations, and being able to have those conversations in the context of the expectations, which come right out of the strategy and the frame. And so it's very tied together. I think a lot of managers aren't as skilled in that particular area, marrying those things up and doing it in a way that holds people accountable, not once a year in the performance evaluation, but on a regular basis so the team is high performing. And then the last thing that I think is super important is have an outcome focus. So really understanding what is it that we are trying to achieve as a team? What are we being held accountable for by all of our stakeholders? How do we manage that? And letting the team have a voice in what that looks like. And so again, we're coming back to the collaboration, we're coming back to the facilitation skills. So I think some of those things that are core competencies for effective leaders in the 21st century are things that we actually have incorporated in our leadership development programs.
Yeah, and what I find really curious a lot of times is that you mentioned something about managers aren't, they're not doing this or they don't have these skills. And why would they have these skills, right? If they've never been taught them. And I think, one of the things that we approach our programs with is that people are not born leaders, they're not born managers. And if they have the open mindset, you can then give them access to these skill sets and space to practice them. And so I think that's one of the other things that is key to our programs is that we're not expecting you to come in as an expert. That's the whole point of the program.
And the thing I think I love about the way we've designed our programs is that we provide these safe places for people to ask questions that they may feel uncomfortable about, to hear from other people's experiences, to understand what works and what doesn't. Management, we know a lot about what works, and there's a lot of it's a skill set, but it's not perfect. It's an art, right? And what might work for one person might not work for another, and people have to learn. And so learning in a safe space really matters. And then in between each of our sessions, people are working together in accountability groups, either in pairs or threes, and asking each other to support each other. And so now what you're building is this support group that you can use throughout your career. And it makes a big difference. You're not alone. You're not learning this in isolation, going, oh my God, what if I just made a mistake? You're learning as you're going with a support network with you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. They're really powerful programs. We've seen it time and time again.
Time and time again. And I think the other thing that I hear time and time again as well is that the stuff that we teach, you can implement if it's, if it's a morning, you can implement it that afternoon. If it's the afternoon, you can implement it the
Yeah.
following morning. You don't have to wait. And in fact, we don't want you to wait, because the faster you can start practicing this, the faster it becomes part of your toolkit, your managerial toolkit. So I think
Yeah,
it's all about implementation and doing it and practicing and experimenting. That's how you become a better manager and leader.
absolutely. Low stakes practice. We're not sending anyone out there to present in front of their bosses that afternoon. That's for sure. That's the key to practice. You do your scales first before you do the concert. All right. Thank you so much. I thank everyone for watching. Please check back to our YouTube channel to see more short conversations like this one. Take care.